Welcome to Backyards and Bevvies. Grab your favorite bevy, pull up a chair, and enjoy the ride. Hey, B&B fam. This podcast is sponsored to you by BetterHelp, H-E-L-P. Is there something getting in the way of your happiness? I know when I traveled the world, I had many days where BetterHelp's worldwide service of licensed professional therapists could have helped me speak to someone no matter where I was in the world about whatever was happening in my life, and with zero judgment. With their ability to match me with a therapist that best fits me, I know my mental health would have been way better back then. Believe me, I needed it. But I'm here to share a way for you to take back control of your mental health by telling you about BetterHelp's awesome services they have for you to talk with a pro about your life through their app or just online. Whether it is a video session or some simple messaging, their team is here to help. I went to check out the app for myself just to see how easy it was to use, and after a series of questions, I was told I would be able to start matching with a therapist in under 48 hours. And what is super rad is that it's affordable and they even offer financial aid too. So come join the 2 million users that have already been helped and gain back control of your mental health by visiting betterhelp.com/backyards for 10% off your first month. Remember, BetterHelp is therapy done securely online. Don't forget to use the special code BACKYARDS and let BetterHelp, H-E-L-P, help you to start living a happier life today. Hey, welcome to Backyards and actually Patios and Bevies today. We are at my buddy Rec's house.
Welcome.
And Rec is a touring buddy of mine that I have spent many moons and many bus rides and many hours hanging out with. And I wanted to have him on the show because right now he's living a pretty awesome life as a drum tech for not only a studio guy, but he also performs live for Chris Stapleton. Or I guess he's all Chris Stapleton, right, in the studio. And
yeah, whatever they're doing, if they're playing music, I'm there.
Man, that is wild.
Yeah.
But I think it's so crazy because just a little while ago, you were working at Amazon.
I was pushing boxes, man.
Pushing boxes. Dude, when everything hit and people started telling me what they were doing, you know, some people went off and built decks, some people went off and collected unemployment, and some people just sat there. But you went to Amazon, and I was always like, man, what a wild, wicked change that was.
It was a huge change. I remember at one point being like in the back of a semi-trailer, like unloading boxes and being like, I've been in the back of trailers unloading gear. This is very different. Very different.
Yeah, this 53 feet is not what I'm used to seeing. Like, it's all full of and they're thrown in there too, from my understanding. It's not like there's any kind of rhyme or reason.
It's to see it, you wouldn't even believe it. The amount of it's crazy.
Yeah, because on the road we're so used to structure and
order.
Fitting. Yeah, like everything fits. Like all cases are usually manufactured or built to fit in a semi, so it goes down the road as smooth as possible.
Yeah.
And here you are looking at some person's they ordered a chia pet in one box and a freaking a Yeti in another box and
dog food. Oh my god, dog food, dude, is the worst. Like for them to box dog food because it all just goes to like one side and the box gets crushed and it's the worst.
Yeah, well, my giant cats get a big bag of food, so I know exactly how it comes. It's
kitty
usually
litter.
thrown right at my front door.
The worst. The worst.
Oh, I'm that guy too that orders the 40-pound bags.
Of course you are. I was cussing you personally. I was mad at you.
Oh yeah, for sure. Every time I get it too, my guy. It's just thrown at the front door. It's not nicely set anywhere, and and I'm pretty sure my mail guy, he had to pick up my Amazon packages for a minute. Like I don't know why, probably because they were low on people, and he was so nice about it. He like set him right on and I was like, man,
he hadn't been doing it long.
Yeah, most of the guys I'm surprised I haven't gotten one through the front window. But today we're here in your world, and thank you for having us. This midweek treat is brought to you by this lovely backdrop. I know that they're doing construction kind of to our right back there.
But we got the river, man.
Yeah, well, that was the thing
Cumberland.
is the first time I came here, because you were living in a house down the road.
Yeah.
And then one day, maybe during the pandemic, I think
so.
I'd come back from the road. You were off at the time. and you were like, yeah, come to my new spot, check it out. And I just was like, wow, it was night though, so I only saw a little bit, but I knew that where we were, I was like, okay, we're by a river, there has to be a lot more. And then I saw it again, I was like, all right, well, when I interview Mr. Derek, I'm gonna make sure that we try to do it here. So thank you for having us at your lovely abode.
Anytime.
The dude abides, right?
It abides.
You have a beautiful rug in there.
It really ties the room together.
So I want to just tell the guests, I met Derek. I've known you for a few different nicknames. So if the audience hears me refer to you in a few different manners, it is Derek.
Right.
But when you showed up at the bus, we had another Derek already. So I actually knew you for the longest time, and still I catch myself as D2.
Yeah.
And I know that one's not one of your favorites.
They all wear thin on me, so it is what it is. I just deal with it, because if you say you don't like it, the more people call you that.
100%.
But either way, they're going to call me.
I just got so stuck calling you that because on the FGL tour, the other Derek was a guitar tech, you were the drum tech, and
the funny thing is, they didn't even call him Derek.
They didn't.
They didn't even call him Derek. They called him Castro. They didn't. They still wouldn't call me by my name, but that's fine.
But somehow we had to, I got latched into that D2 thing. And I still see like a van that drives around with D2 on it. And I always think about you. I'm always like, look at that thing. But we met on the FGL tour. And this whole time that I was like, oh man, what is he going to bring to this? Like, what kind of bevy is he bringing? What kind of stories are we going to talk about? I was like, we have so many things that we've gone through.
I think there's a lot that's lost, too. Probably will never get back.
You know what's surprising? I think my drunk memory, the more I drink on this old fashioned that your lovely lady made us, all I can say is I'm probably going to start remembering them again. That happened to me one time.
It'll put you in that state. You're like, oh, yeah.
You've seen Beer Fest, right? Mm-hmm. Where they're like, oh, we got to get him drunk, and that happened to me in Barcelona one time. So it's a real thing. But I wanted to start this conversation off, by starting with, like, remember how we met? We were already touring,
right?
You were working for another artist at the time, and this is one of those memories where I think we're gonna have to play back and forth, because I remember waking up in the morning and you were there.
Yeah,
and I was like,
"Who's this?"
I went to bed not with this guy in the front lounge.
Yeah.
But did you sleep in the front lounge that night?
No. I came from L.A.
Okay.
I flew overnight to L.A. I got in super late and stayed in a hotel. Woke up really early. They had a runner come pick me up. And the first thing they did was drop me off at the bus. And so I was there before anybody woke up.
Yeah, I for the longest time, I thought that I dreamt that. I'm not even kidding you. Like, I'd be like, did I meet Derek just like randomly all of a sudden? Like, bam, there he was in the freaking front lounge. And it was true. I just, when your mind just plays that trick on you.
Yeah.
So you were touring with another artist. And I always found this story so kind of funny in a way, but at the same time, like, what a win for you, because you ended up going on to something so much better.
I mean, yeah, you could say that. But in my mind, I was hustling for myself. And no matter what was going on at the time, I was going to keep moving.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it ended up better. But to me, it wasn't like, I don't know, maybe it was a luck thing. It probably was a luck thing.
I think we were always destined to meet. And it just had to happen in such a crazy way. You explain it a little bit, because I just remember you being like, yeah, they basically dropped me off on the side of the road, and I made a call, and next thing I know, I was here. And I was like, what?
It kind of happened like that. My end of the road with that artist was coming pretty fast.
Yeah.
And it was nothing against those guys. I was just ready to move on, and I was ready to start really taking this seriously and being a career.
Yeah.
For me, so I made the moves. We had a bad show one night in L.A. It wasn't my bad show, but everybody kind of had a bad show. And I made a call that night and was like, listen, I called a buddy and was like, this is going to end for me quickly. do you know anywhere that I can go? He was like, as a matter of fact, let me call you in the morning. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So he had a show that night as well. The next day, I'm on the bus. We're going to the next venue. We were only going, 50 miles down the road.
Yeah.
So we were playing another House of Blues, and he called that morning, and he said, hey, man, in 10 minutes, a Canadian number is going to call you. You're going to want to answer that, and then you're going to want to talk to him as truthfully as possible.
Yeah.
That was basically my interview, and it was like, well, wherever you are, we need you in Fargo, North Dakota tomorrow morning. And I was in L.A., bro.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Cool.
I'll make it. And so I announced to that artist that I was leaving promptly, and they decided to make it right then and there.
I can only picture a 43-foot tour bus coming to a screeching halt, pulling a trailer on the side of the road. That's how I picture it, only because
Very close.
The way that you have told it to me, my vivid imagination pictures it very much like that.
Oh, it was grab your bags. The bus is stopping right now. And I was like, oh, we're going to do this right here.
Oh.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
So the bad thing was where the bus pulled over, I get out, I'm on a corner, and at that time there was no Uber, so I called a cab.
Yeah.
I'm at the corner of this and this. I need to go to the airport, so I'm waiting on a cab. Well, where the bus went was like the wrong way, and they turned around and they came back, and the stoplight hit them, and they're literally
Just watching you?
dude. The windows are tinted, so I can't see in, and I know they're all like looking out, and they're probably giving middle fingers or whatever. And I'm just sitting there, and I'm literally sitting on the sidewalk, like with feet in the gutter, and I'm like, wow, I don't know if I made the right decision. Is this bad? I don't know, but either way, I've already made the decision.
Yeah.
I'm going to full force in it, and it turned out to probably be the best career move of my life.
100%.
Yeah.
I can agree to that. In those moments, though, I think that, I talk about it all the time on my show, like, and you hear it because you watch and stuff like that, and it's the moments like that, though, are key.
They're defining.
Jumping.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying to yourself, you know what? I really don't know what's around that corner, and I don't know what's in the abyss, and it's dark, and it's scary, and but right now sucks.
Right. What I do know is this, and I don't want this.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, it's got to be better than this.
And that is a really, really valid point, because it does suck for a minute. Like, I'm sure they're sitting on that, you're like watching these people like, oh gosh, this stinks. Like, well, you're not watching them. They're watching you, flipping you off, probably
Right.
chugging beer. Like, this guy has no idea what he's throwing away. And you're like, I don't know what I'm throwing away right now. Like, actually, I'm sitting in a gutter.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I know that I have enough drive that wherever I'm going, I'm going to make it.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. I've always I would say commend you for that action, because being with I guess you could say toxic, or individuals that just don't make your life any better.
Yeah.
It's so hard for people to get away from that. And so even to make a choice like that, I always just really admired that. And I think that set our relationship off into one of those moments where I was like, I'm gonna like this guy, I'm gonna dig whatever he's about, because what he's about is like truly like good stuff. So I've always thought that story was just so cool, man. And you flew, was it Fargo?
Yeah, I mean,
man.
I think that was your second show. The funny thing
Freaking
is,
cold.
a week before then, I was home in Nashville, and when I was at home, I would work local crew stuff to make extra money while I was off the road, because the artists I was working for, I wasn't on salary, so I only made money if we were doing shows.
Yeah.
So I would work local crew at home. I actually loaded you guys into your rehearsal, and then I loaded you guys out, and I remember working for you because there was somebody, I can't remember, somebody on the crew was calling you the painted one. And they were like, you need to go help out my guy in audio. He's on the other side of the stage. You can't miss him. He's the painted one.
He's painted up.
Right. So I worked with you guys briefly just as local crew.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been anybody that stood out, so I would never expect you to have remembered me. But I do remember you just because the guy said, go look for this guy. He's the painted one.
Yeah, and I was pretty tattooed at that time,
Yeah,
too. I didn't have I was pretty covered, but I wasn't as covered as I am now.
Right. Same for me.
Yeah. Well, in that world of stagehands, I've kind of let listeners know about it.
Mm-hmm.
It is a completely different world when you work for an artist that doesn't pay you a salary, or that
Absolutely.
you're still grinding even though you go out every weekend. It's there's so many different touring little scenarios that people, I think, they hear like, oh, that guy's out on tour with Kiss or Guns N' Roses, or name giant band.
Right.
Well, there's a whole slew of people that did touring like you did, and all you're doing is you're looking up saying, oh, one day I'm going to get there. And when you joined the tour that we did, the FGL tour, it was still growing.
It was.
And so there was still a whole mess of growing pains that we all went through together.
Absolutely. But it was good because I needed that time, because I came from a place where I was doing House of Blues and clubs and stuff like that. And I needed the truck dock arena experience, and the bigger venues. And we started in the smaller ones at that time, and we worked our way in, and we were opening for other bands that were, the Luke Bryans and stuff like that, and they were doing big stuff. And then
stadiums.
Right. So as they grew, I grew, and it was perfect timing for me.
Yeah. There's one photo I always run across. And in your world, you did the drum tech side. So, people that go to a concert and you see the drum kit up there, and I'm going to say 99.9% of the time, the drummer did set it up. Especially at the bigger shows, because, they have other stuff they're doing. Sometimes in country, it's a little different because there's the artist and then there's the band.
Right. A lot of the times.
Yeah, a lot of the times. And in the rock and roll pop world, or in the pop world, it's very similar as well. But in the rock world, sometimes you have like the Motley Crues where
the band.
It is the band. And so Tommy's not going to come in and set his kit up and make sure his drum heads are tuned. And so that's what your gig is. And I think that having you on, it's really cool because I've explained the audio side. I've explained a few of the other little jobs, but I've never had a drum tech on, so you're the first. But there's this photo, and you're backstage, basically. You're like sitting behind the drummer, or sometimes you're sitting off stage, but your gig is to watch him. You don't really watch the show. You have to at certain points, but there's this photo, and to me, it's crazy because I look at it, and in that growing moment, we're playing Greensboro, North Carolina. Remember that? The loading dock is outside. There is no loading dock. It's, you're unload. Oh, there is a really bad loading dock that you still have to go down a ramp. Then you go down a ramp, up a ramp, into one vom hole onto the floor. But it's a giant arena. And so we were going.
It's like 22, I think it seats.
Giant.
Maybe more.
No, I think, I don't know what floor count is, but if you do like seats, I'm pretty sure it's like 17 or 6. It looks giant, right?
And if the way that it's set up, it's so high, it feels like they're right on top of you.
Oh, yeah. It's crazy. And so this photo I always look at, to me, I'm like, wow, we were growing, because the speakers that were hanging look like two little toothpicks.
They're tiny.
Tiny. Just as like little Tic Tacs like floating in the middle of this arena.
I remember, though, that that array was like a small array for that room, I feel like. And even you were like, we should have different boxes for this.
I remember looking at Jared that day and being like, if we don't blow something up tonight, I'm going to be...
Push it.
And Jared was growing as an engineer, too.
Absolutely.
So it's like, I have these old subs that were from this company called Showco that were probably like, at that point, 500 years old. They were made of carpet. Like they were the like my bane of my existence. Like I have to rub these carpet things, and they had staples in them that might catch my hands. But yeah, the speakers we had were they were built for like theaters and
old
other
shows,
other applications, and so I bring them into this room, and I'm like, whew, I don't even think I pinned anything. I just like am pinning them as like in the back where you like create this like banana effect of them, and I think I just like ratcheted them all together so it just like a semicircle. And I said, well, it's going there and it's going here, and I honestly don't know if it's even going to get to the top. And I went up in the middle of the show though to listen. It wasn't my best show, but people could hear at least, and that's all that matters. But that to me was one of those growing moments that and you had joined shortly before that. So, I'll
Right.
always look at those photos and I can remember the crew and I can remember all the things that we were going through. And
I mean, at that time, the crew basically fit on one bus, 2 buses maybe.
I think it was band and Tex.
Band and Tex on one bus, so technically, and then the rest of the crew was on another.
Lighting, audio, video on the other. And it was wild.
Right.
And merch.
Right.
I made the merch guy so mad. Remember, he ripped I don't know if you were you out there. I think
Yes.
you had not. You might have just
When
started.
he
Ripped the stereo out on me and the other audio guy because we just weren't being complete asshats that day.
and playing like music on 10 till 5 a.m.
It was like if I could have opened the doors and played music, I would have. If I could have ran a speaker into his bunk, I was just being such a jerk that day. Like I was in one of those moods. But yeah, that was fun moments. But I don't know, man. I've never been in your shoes. I've done a lot of other positions, but how'd you learn how to drum tech? I mean, or how did you learn how to tune a drum? To me, it's just such a
Man, it's literally from person to person. It could be very different. It relies on your ear, and it's not like a guitar where it's like you're in tune or you're not.
yeah.
It's subjective, but I don't know. From the get go, even in high school when I was playing in the band, not a band, the band.
The band, all right.
Marching band, jazz band, that kind of thing, pep band. There was a guy that was he was the drummer. If it came to, pep band and jazz band, he was the guy. And he was cool enough to let me play like a song every now and then.
Yeah.
So I would play, but he was in a band and I would go with them and I would lug gear around and I definitely paid attention more to drums and stuff like that. And I kind of just stayed that way.
Yeah.
Even though I got out of the scene for a while and went to college and everything like that. I kind of got out of music. When I came back to it and was going to school for audio, I started to pay attention more.
Yeah.
And I kind of always have been a gear nerd, and I just
Okay.
stuck with it. And I knew that I was always going to be better at that than I was going to be at playing. And I wanted to be in the biz. I wanted to tour. I wanted this type of lifestyle. And so I did it. I mean, and over the years, I've kind of honed it in. But I will admit, when I first started, I was not. I should not have been out there. But
They're
I
like,
mean,
you got to tune the whole drum,
Right.
not just this side of it, please.
Right. But I stuck with it, and luckily, the first drummer that I teched for, he taught me a lot, and
Oh,
he
that's
was
cool.
very cool. And we were less like boss and employee, and more like friends.
Yeah.
We hung out outside of the gig.
Yeah.
And so he taught me a lot. And like I said, it's subjective. So I had to learn how to use my ear to listen for other people
Yeah.
and say, okay, this is the way Phil likes it. This is the
Yeah.
way that this drummer likes it. And tune to their liking
Yeah.
and try to figure out, what they wanted to get out of the drum.
That's interesting. When you grew up playing,
Mhm.
did you even know that there was a position to be a drum tech?
No, had no idea. No idea. If I knew that, I probably would have went straight for it from the get-go. But I grew up in a place where there were not that many bands, and it wasn't.
And probably playing the drums wasn't that thing either. Like you were probably like, oh yeah, you're gonna go play the drums again?
Right.
Oh, okay, cool.
I got that a lot too, where I wanted to be in the band in high school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And that interfered with sports, and coaches were like, where are you gonna go? You gonna go be some rock star or whatever? And I was like, well, guess what? I'm definitely not gonna be in the NFL. We know that. Look at my size. Look at my talent. It's not gonna happen. And some of those,
you grew up just one state above, us,
Right.
right? So,
Kentucky, yeah.
Kentucky, right?
yeah, very
Hence
small.
the blue microphone right there.
Yeah, the UK Blue, man.
I love it.
But yeah, a small town, man. I didn't know that stuff existed. I had no idea.
Did you go to a show like at a young age? Like even not
I went
even
to a
big
lot
one-
of shows.
like so small. I'm gonna say, or did you go some big ones that really kind of got your interest in the drums?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I was already interested in it, but I still didn't I didn't know that
Yeah.
there were such things as techs. I didn't know what it took to put on a show.
Yeah.
Before then, I would just literally go watch the show, see the music, and that was it. I had no idea of like, I didn't even wonder like who put all this together. No idea.
No idea. I was in the same boat. I remember looking at like U2, Rolling Stones, like all these stages. I was like 11 and 12 and 13, and being like, I just want to be that guy with the long hair and the tattoos, smoking cigarettes over there. I don't care what he's doing. I don't even know what he's doing. How's he standing there?
It probably wasn't. It probably wasn't until I got to Nashville that I realized that there were positions like that.
Yeah.
And I was going to school for studio audio, and halfway through I was like, I don't want to sit in a studio.
Here or?
Here in Nashville.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I knew I wanted to do something in music. If I was going to be happy in life, it had to be based around music. So I went to an audio recording arts school, and halfway through I was like, I don't want to sit in a windowless dungeon, never see the light of day, and just listen to the same take over and over and over and over.
And over. One more time.
Right?
Stick.
Over and over again. And so halfway through, luckily there was a guy that worked there who used to tour, and he's like, I mean, you could go tour. You could do the live setting of this, and that opened up the door, Pandora's box. And I was like, wait, what?
Say that again?
Right. He was like, yeah, there's all kinds of positions. He goes, you don't want to be a lighting guy. Just don't do lighting.
Yeah. And that is such a funny thing, because we were just talking about that when I was at Full Sail. I had a choice to make, like, lighting or audio. And I just heard so many other jokes go for the lighting side that I think, like, mentally I was like, I think being in audio is way cooler.
Right.
So I'm going to go that way. Thankfully, I figured out
what a choice. Good choice.
Their cables are a little lighter, too.
Well, and I didn't understand why at the time. I do now. Those guys are first in the morning and last out at night.
Oh, my gosh.
Your sleep deprivation is on high. Yeah. Like, I don't know.
I will say this. Being an audio guy, even then, I was like, okay, I know that I don't have the worst position out here, like when it comes to like some sort of cables and some of the junk you have to do like in these stages. But I was always jealous of the backline crews, just because they would, I mean, some of them would roll in and like tune an acoustic guitar and be done for the day. I'd be like, it
can be very
what
easy.
In the F? But we all choose our positions, and I just had to deal with it, and I loved it. And I loved coming to your world midday. I don't know how many conversations we had up on the drum kit, just shooting the shit, just having fun, really enjoying where we were, because we could have been in BFE, middle
Fargo,
of
North Dakota,
and on a rainy day, and it's cold AF, and yet here we are talking. And I think that that's like very reminiscent right now of how we're having this conversation, is that we're just sitting out here, two good old boys, just having fun. And you can never explain that stuff to people. You can never be like, and it's hard to be gone, but there was certain parts of my day that always made being gone better. And I will always say that going to your world, because if no one knows what techs are, sometimes you have a bass tech, a guitar tech, a second guitar tech, a drum tech, a Pro Tools tech. You have all these different techs that help set up all this equipment, keyboard techs. Yeah. Well, a lot of them can finish their job fairly quickly. Drum techs, though, have to polish. Sometimes when it's head changing days, you have twice as much work, because it's not like you can just pop that. There's no quick release to a drum kit. Right. So
you don't just clip it like a string and pull it out.
Yeah, like bing, done. So there is a little bit of finesse to your job, and there's a little bit of care. And so I could go up there on the, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Thursday, or no, would it be Friday morning would be or Thursday would be your drum head changes, because it would be from the week before.
Start the week with fresh heads.
Yeah. So I was always stuck out there anyways, because I had to deal with all the jerk opening act bands. And I say jerk in such a funny way because they're so nice. Yeah. Most of them are like the nicest people in the world. But I would be out there and I'd be like, oh, look, Rex still up there just hanging out? And I'd be like, oh, wait, he's not hanging out. He's polishing it. All right, I'm going to go up and hang out with him. And we would just sit up there and talk. And I always loved that about you, that you always just love to have a nice conversation.
Well, I mean, in my mind, I can't go anywhere. I'm doing that. I can't, like, go to some station or some other area, so I have to do that there. So when people come by to hang out and talk, it's fun. I enjoy, it's better than being up there alone and not doing anything, not talking to anybody. So I always enjoyed it. But like the cleaning part of it, some people joke about how much I clean and maintain, that kind of stuff. But my idea was not only you want it to look good.
Yeah.
That's number one. But the other part of that is when I'm cleaning the drums, the rack, whatever, every inch of that thing, I'm literally touching every piece, everything on that kit.
Yeah.
And as I'm going through, I can feel if something's loose.
Yeah.
So I can probably fix something before it's broken, or before it's mid-show and something just falls. That's the idea of like the cleaning is I'm putting my hands on every nut and bolt through the entire kit.
I've never even thought about it in that perspective. What a different outlook you just gave me.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool though.
Yeah.
Well, going back to your days so you started playing in high school?
I did.
Was there one drummer that stood out to you?
Back then, like that I looked up to, or like that was a friend of mine there?
We could do both, actually. I mean, I would be interested to see who was an idol, because I think it's always interesting, because like it's really easy to name like the the Neil Peart,
right,
whatever. But it's always interesting to me when someone names someone random, like, whoa, I would have never guessed that. And you can say anyone.
I mean, Neil was one of those. It's funny you should say, because at that time, nobody at my age was listening to Rush.
Yeah.
I feel like, especially where I grew up, nobody was listening to Rush. That dude, he had a high-pitched voice. Most people thought that was a girl, man. But
they were listening to John Deere Green, right?
Right. Yeah, it was a very different style of music. But I was listening to Rush because I had an understanding of the music. I had an understanding of what it took to produce what they were making. So I was a big fan of that. Could I ever do anything like Neil? Never.
All gold, 100, I don't even know, 2,000 piece drum kit. I mean, it looks like it was in like a circle.
I mean, it spun around, man.
Crazy.
He played 2 kits at once,
You and my wife are big Tool fans.
Danny Carey, homie. Last night, I was up late last night watching Tool live, Danny Carey videos, like just nerding out just because I wanted to.
I've come to love Tool because of my wife, and I have to say, wow.
That entire band, bro.
Just to watch him play, like I don't know how to count. And I'm like, I have no idea what he's doing, but it's beautiful.
Trust me, even if you knew how to count, you couldn't count Tool songs. They're in the weirdest time signatures, and sometimes they switch time signatures in the middle of the song. They just do whatever they want to do.
Isn't that
great.
Cool, though?
It's great.
What are they on, 40 years now of playing?
Have to be, I don't know, 30-something.
They're Sober wasn't their first giant hit, right? It was probably something else. But
I think that was their first giant hit, but I think they were out before then.
They were
well before
then.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so cool to me that, when people say, well, what's going to be your, like, Rolling Stones Tool?
It could very well.
I mean, just the way that he is. I mean, he plays in, 3 different bands? What's his name? Maynard?
Maynard James Keenan. Yeah, he has plenty of bands. I think they all kind of have their own thing outside of that.
But he could, that band right there, Tool alone, they're touring right now, and they're giant, selling out arenas. I just saw a video of them in the American Airlines Center, which we've played in Dallas, and just killing it.
Whenever I think of that place, I think that there's just no frequencies. You can't, like a wireless pack, no way. Everybody's on top of everybody. That's hard to explain. I know. You're like, the listener's not going to know.
Yeah, this is not a techie show.
Right.
I said earlier today, I was talking to my wife, and I said Thingamabobby, so I'm not a big tech person. What's so funny is I'm a giant tech person. Like, I get it all. I know how to do it. I know how to look at the computer screens. Yeah. But it was so much easier for me just to call it a big black box or call it a Thingamabobby. Like, I could go all day on what
Right.
it's actually physically called, but
Right.
you're gonna look at me if you were a stagehand, right? Because you were.
Mhm.
I could come in as a touring guy and be like, "Hey, go grab me that, RJ blah 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 blah," and you'd be like. But then if
Right.
I said, "Hey, go grab me that black cable and it has purple, yellow, and red tape on it," you'd be like, "Cool."
Yep.
And you'd probably go to the box that I'm pointing at and you'd pick it out. And so I don't know. I was always a fan of just using the thingamabobby names and
Thingamajig. Thingamajig is Kentucky, I think.
I used to love going to Boston because then I could say box. Go grab that cable out of the box.
It's in your shine box.
And then I loved when I had a kid. Hey, kid. Because I was always called kid.
Yeah.
Or back to your go to the painted one. I was on tour. It was Alicia Keys, like 2010, and my stage manager, he was his name was Stryker. He was awesome. And there was another guy named out there, Justin. They both had like really deep voices and smoked cigarettes. So I hung out with them instantly. I was like, "Oh, we're gonna be friends.
We're gonna chain smoke all day long."
I love chain smoking, especially on tour. Where's the loading dock? But he dubbed me the Painted Lady at some point in my I had like 17 nicknames, and one of them was Spring Break. And one of them was the Painted Lady. So depending on who was calling me on the radio, I knew exactly what I was in trouble for.
Right.
Like, oh, okay, Spring Break. There's a mic stand not right. And it was all. Sorry, I say this, but there was a drum kit and a percussion kit. Have you ever had to deal with a percussion kit?
I have not. I think I could, but I haven't.
I think you would totally knock it out. But you watch audio techs all day long come in with their little microphones and try to squeeze every kit's different, and each tour kit is probably even has little nuances. So, like squeezing a microphone to get the snare is such a challenge.
It's an art form.
It really is. And some days you're like, "Oh, I'll use a bear claw," or like, "Go get me a donut and some gaff tape, and I'm gonna
chewing gum."
I'm gonna MacGyver this thing to the side of this thing," and then you get it all set and it's perfect, and the drummer comes in, he's like, "I'm gonna hit this."
Right.
And you're like, why can't you just play the drums? Don't worry about the microphones.
Right.
He's like, "Yeah, but it's in my way." You're like, "All right, fine, I'll move it."
It's inevitable. It's gonna happen.
It is. And working at Claire, we had the round bases on a lot of the stuff, not the triangle stuff. And so this one front of house guy, he had this really big obsession with having the little rubber piece at the bottom. It had to be over the boom, or it had to be under the boom side. So that way, if it rocked a little, it would never rock forward and potentially tap like a overhead. I mean, it made sense to me.
Right.
But I would come in so drunk to work sometimes that like I just didn't care about or like I would forget to tighten stuff. And his one thing that he would do after or before sound check was he would come and touch like you touched every nut and bolt. His thing was he would go to every mic stand and he would touch every bit of it. And it would be like the longest day of my life. I'd be like, "Man, I am hungover. I just want to get to my bunk. I'm over this tour. I have to go do like Robin Thicke for an opening act here in a minute." I was like, "F this." And I'd get to I'd get to my bus and I'd be like, "All right, I'm going to take my radio off." And I'd be like, "Spring Break?" I'd be like, "Go for Spring Break." Yeah, can you come to the stage? I'd be like, is it something that I really have to come to? I'd be like, "Yeah." And I'd get there and it'd be like, like the smallest little knob would be just a tad. He'd be like, "Spring Break, don't." And he was such a nice guy, Dave Cobb. He was like the nicest. He was super sweet to me. He'd be like, "Why do I always got to remind you, Phil?" Or like Spring Break. He'd be like, "Dang it." So when you said
Lessons
that, it
learned.
instantly
Right.
took me back to that spot of like touching every little.
Oh yeah.
Man, isn't it wild though that you can take these instruments though, and every night on the road in rain, shine, wind. I mean, I've seen you do it. I've seen you put those kits together in some wild places.
That, and you just think about the instruments that I deal with, somebody beats them.
Right.
They're not, I mean, they're playing them, but
yeah.
they're just beating them with sticks. You know what I mean?
All right, so I never let you answer your question. I have to get you back to telling me, who was your idol?
Oh, man.
It could be a local guy, too.
Back then, I had, there was a time in early high school, It may have been even 8th grade, where I discovered Pantera.
Ooh.
And I don't know what it was, but I heard Vinnie Paul play the drums, and I was like, that's the greatest thing I've ever heard. And it hasn't changed for me. I'm still a fan of him. God rest his soul.
Yeah, for sure.
But even, like I said, I was watching Tool videos last night. I was watching some Pantera videos live, watching him play. I still watch stuff like that. I'm still a huge fan. But Vinnie Paul was a big one.
That's amazing.
Oh, dude.
Next time you're around a Shoko guy, you should ask some questions, because they have some great stories of Vinny or of Pantera days. You know, because they were. If you've never heard of Pantera, go Google it, look up some YouTube videos.
Do yourself a favor.
Parental discretion, though, because there's definitely some vulgar stuff. I mean, one of their albums was Vulgar Display of Power.
Yep.
And they're all, but I will say this: Dimebag, they were brothers, Dime and Vinny.
Yep.
I honestly thought that there were 17 guitar players on stage.
I mean, they, interestingly enough, they were a lot like Van Halen in that Dime started playing drums. And then Vinny was just gravitated to it and was better at it. So Dime let him have his drum kit, and then Dime started playing guitar, which was kind of the same way that Van Halen started as far as Eddie.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you like Pantera or not, they're one of those bands, like, you just have to respect them. They did so much for rock or metal and rock. I mean, they just...
That and sonically. Like, at that time, when I was listening to his drum kits, sonically, I was like, how does he make his drum kits sound like that? What is he doing? And I remember trying to figure out his kick drum sounds for years. And, we could probably emulate it now, but at the time I was like, this blows my mind. I don't even understand what he's
this
doing.
This is unreal.
Yeah. So that's what drew me to them.
Big. They were an arena rock band, and I'm sure when they started, they were playing clubs, but sounded like an arena rock band.
Absolutely.
And that was the thing. Like, they just had this giant, and then you had Phil on vocals, which just brought it to life. And I'm gonna probably get roasted if this gets out to the Pantera world, but I don't know the bass player's name.
Rex, man, Rex.
That's right, Rex. I was like, I know I've heard it, I just can't picture it.
The whole band, in each of their positions, the whole band, each of them were monsters in their own right.
Yeah.
And then you put them together as a band, and it was like the perfect storm at the perfect time.
Yeah.
Because at the time that they were coming up and huge and like really hitting it, grunge was also demolishing hair bands. Yeah. So metal was not doing well.
Nah.
Grunge was killing it, but somehow they eked their way through and completely just opened up the genre for everyone else.
Yeah. No, they definitely did some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to forget whoever told me this, but it was one of their monitor guys. I think his name was Dave. Yeah, whatever. But someone's told me this multiple times, that not only did they have like side fills that just blow, directly across the stage, they had these like upper fills that kind of shot across the stages. And then they had, I want to say Phil had a special set of these Prism Blues that shot down.
From up above him?
From above him. They flew him with these like chain hoist stuff that like flipped the cabinet so it shot straight down. Now, if anyone's hearing this and they know this for sure, I could probably ask, I think, like Pooch or a few of these other guys that would definitely know. But I'm pretty sure that they just had such a loud stage volume too that even if you shut the PA off, you would hear them for miles.
I wouldn't doubt it. Like I said, I was watching some live stuff from back in the day, like 94, 95 or something like that. Yeah. And at one point I got tired of like counting the front fills or their wedges that were on stage, and I was like, there's so many wedges. Like, if they can't possibly hear these days. Like, there's only 2 members that are alive right now, and both of their ears have to be completely shot.
I believe that because of Pantera, they're called Texas headphones.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna go on a limb and say that Texas Headphones.
I
Well,
don't
they're a
doubt it.
Texas band.
Yeah,
And they were with a Texas audio company.
I don't doubt
So I'm going to say that Texas Headphones was dubbed because of Pantera.
it. I don't doubt it.
And
The
it's
stage volume, the concert volume had to be incredibly loud just to overcome the stage volume.
100%.
Oh man,
You know who's actually a giant fan of them is Nickelback.
really?
You should talk to.
Well, they did
is
a
it Shu?
song.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see him
you-
not too long from now.
I'm pretty sure. So when I was out there, obviously Dime didn't show up, but Vinny would show up in Dallas all the
really?
time. And one of the memories I have is that I'm coming back from the buses, and you used to have to go through like this small tunnel. It's changed now. They put the buses like kind of up top, and you walk through the main concourse.
Mhm.
But it used to be where they put them in this like back parking lot, and you kind of came down where the players came in underneath, and you'd walk down this little set of stairs, and as I'm walking in, this white limo rolls in.
Of course.
And I was like, oh, and it was like super 80s. I think it had like the boomerang on the back for the TV. I was like, what is this? And like as I'm walking here, well, actually, I should say, a butt comes scooting out in
Two
a mini skirt.
snakeskin boots.
No, it's a mini skirt comes out first. And I was like, wait, whoa, this is interesting. And then here comes another butt, and I'm like, what is happening here? I'm like, and I knew that Chad partied and stuff, so I was like, oh, this must be Chad. Out comes Vinnie Paul, and I was like, oh, and he had like the sideburn, it was like, I was like, well,
the mutton chops.
and I didn't know that Nickelback and them were close like that. Here, and everybody always dogs on Nickelback too,
yeah.
and I'm always like, F you. Do you know that like if Pantera is coming to hang out with Nickelback, there's something to be said about that.
Right.
So F you.
I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think when Dime passed, I think they released a song. I can't remember what
You're
it was
right.
called, but they made a song for him.
Yeah, I don't remember the name. I don't think it ever went like big like their other hits, but because it was more, I think, attributed to him.
Yeah.
So they played a little harder. I don't think it was like a poppy song that they put out, if I remember correctly. But yeah, you're right. And that was, to me, it was such a cool thing. Later that night, though, I remember the limo was then parked up by the buses, and it was just like all I heard was the loudest music in there. And it was just moving. I don't know what was happening in there, but it was just moving. It was like this, like it was bouncing, but it wasn't like, it wasn't bouncing in the way you would think. It was just moving. I was like, that is awesome. So I will say that I've never met Vinny, but I will definitely always have Nickelback's back, because for one, they were always super sweet to me. But knowing that Pantera liked them, I was like, all right, well, everyone should like them then.
Hey, man, at one time, everybody did like them. I don't know if anybody's forgotten that, but there was one time where everybody did like them.
Loved them.
If anybody wants to say, oh, douchebag, whatever, at one point, everybody liked them.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. I love it, dude. So enough of the drums, though. I mean, you've done a podcast, and I'm sure you just
Enough of the drugs?
Drums. Yeah, the drugs too. I'm off the drugs right now. I have a kid now. I'm going to say this.
We made it past 30, so now we got to.
Yeah, I'm almost 40. I'm like months away from 40, which is awesome. I've never been healthier, happier, and just having more fun in my life.
Congratulations.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. And you've seen it. You've been actually a part of a lot of this growth, and you've always, to me, the other day I made a comment on the show. I was like, I'm my biggest fan.
Mhm.
Berkeley's probably obviously my second biggest fan. And then I have a whole list of people that do support me, and it's hard to tell where, but you're one of those people that you reach out a lot. You always say hey, keep going, keep pushing, whatever you're doing is, and I really do appreciate that. So thank
Absolutely.
you always from the bottom of my heart.
I think we're a lot alike in that sense of like we're go-getters, and it's like if you just give me like a toe in the door,
Yeah.
I'm in. You can't get rid of me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push my way in, and I'm gonna make my presence. I'm gonna make my mark here.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like you're very much one of those people. There's not very many of those people. I personally want to surround myself with those types of people. because I think that pushes me, it pushes them. It in turn, it's all circular.
Oh man, you're so right though. But you do push me. Like having someone reach out to you and say you're doing a good job, keep it up. Sorry, excuse me. There's you can't ask for that. There's no amount of money. And it's not like, like I'm not paying you to call me.
Right.
I'm not paying you to text me these things. So there is like, I think you're completely right about that. Is like, I want to surround myself with people like you. And I knew that from day one. When I saw you on that bus, we didn't know anything about each other. Then all of a sudden you started bringing this little fireball bottle to the edge of the stage. And I was like, man, I didn't ask him to do that. He's just doing that out of the kindness of his heart.
Hey, man.
And
celebrate another good one down.
You always had this really cool positivity to you. And that, I think, if more people on tour had that positive outlook, their days would be very smooth. And I think that you've grinded it out so hard. Correct me if I'm, maybe you don't think that you grinded, but I just your stories that you've told me just in this little moment, I'm like, yeah.
There's been those days.
No wonder you're happy. No wonder you're like looking at life way differently.
Man, the way I look at it with road life is you can be unhappy and be at home and be at least get to go home and be with your person and your people and your kid, whatever. To be on the road and be unhappy, that's not worth it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be on the road, you need to make it the best possible situation.
Yeah.
Because if you're unhappy there, I can be unhappy working a 9 to 5 in a cubicle at home, and I can go home every night and I can see my person, and I can poop in my toilet, I can sleep in my bed, those things make me happy. So there's no reason to be unhappy on the road. So, good people on the road make for good times, make it worth it to be on the road.
Yeah, and you and me, so 2013 is when we started hanging.
Yeah.
One thing that we did on the road that always made me happy was get tattooed. With you.
We did that a lot. Man, we had a point where we did what we called it Tattoo Tuesday.
Tattoo Tuesdays. We have one tattoo that's exactly the same with a bus code.
Yes.
Yeah. You actually introduced me to my favorite tattoo shop in Nashville. Like, obviously, I've been tattooed in a lot of other places, so I can't say it's my favorite. But the people there, Mike and Laura, are two of the greatest people I've ever met in my life.
Dude, I feel like great people gravitate to great people,
And you took me there, and I'm one of those people where, like, I'd started, and I'm in now. And unfortunately, right now, I have to take a little break from getting tattooed, but in time, I'll have my face covered. I'll be the next Lil Wayne, Lil Phil,
right?
Lil PK is what you can call me. But there's one specific moment where we both could have been really just bitter and sour after like.
We totally should have been bitter and sour about it.
But we went to New York and we were doing a show in the Best Buy Theater. And
PK goes, "Wait a minute, I have a great idea." That normally, when you start with that, is normally not a great idea.
Yeah, and I'd been going to the city for a while now, so I had all the good ideas. I was like, oh, we should start here and go here.
He goes, "Look at me, Rec. Just follow me." Famous last words.
Famous last. Oh, we went down the rabbit hole.
Oh man.
So we had 2 nights, right? Or was it 3 nights?
I think we did 3 nighs. What was that theater called?
The Best Buy Theater. Yeah.
But I think it's called something different now. Or whatever.
Yeah, it's right in it's dead center Times Square above Outback Steakhouse.
Lion King's like right next door or something.
But we set up.
We had 3 days, but we had a day off and then 3 straight.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's how it was.
And we had to take everything up elevators and down these magical dirt roads and just it was just it was a long day. It was a lot of walking. It was a lot of ups and downs. And I said, man, I've always wanted to get my feet tattooed. And you're like, dude, me too. I was like, dude, I want to do both of them. And I had this spot called and I'm not going to say the name because I don't really rep them anymore. But my boy that owns Clash City was like, we had already had this relationship established. So he was like, dude, show up anytime. Just give me like a day's notice. I'll make time for you. And I told him, I was like, hey, me and my buddy want to come get our feet tattooed. And he was like, both?
All of them?
All of your feet in New York on a day off?
Right.
Are you sure? I was like, is that bad?
Can you fit us in? Both of us?
Okay. Both of us?
We even took, what was that video kid's name? He was like, had to be like 18,
I've
straight out of high
so
school.
many people to get their first tattoos that I can't even name you. I can picture him. He was so innocent.
He had the virgin skin.
I made
Nothing.
we used
He
to
didn't
have,
even have a scar.
we would get done with our loadouts and we would do audio prison showers. It was just, and I remember like he like had walked in one day in the room and we were like, yeah, you can join, and he felt so awkward that he just stayed. I don't think he really wanted to shower in like a prison style shower, but we were like,
man.
yeah, you're more than welcome to hang out. And he was like, dang, the cool kids are asking me to hang out. Do I leave? I'm so nervous right now. You can see his face getting red, like he was holding his breath.
It makes me wonder that would he have gotten that tattoo if we weren't like, hey, we're going to get tattoos tomorrow. You want to go? If we didn't ask him that, he probably would still not be tattooed.
He probably would not have a tattoo. Yeah, getting tattooed with me, I think the most I got on one tour, so in a year, was 19. I know. We had counted up, I think it was a total of like 70 something across the tour. Because every day off, I'd be like, hey, I found a spot. And they'd be like, okay, let's go. Some of them were tiny. Some of them were like little guys. But you and me, though, this will always live in my brain as one of the worst decisions I ever made in my life. We traveled. I think we took the subway. Because sometimes I like to Uber.
It was like a couple different trains to get there.
Yeah, sometimes I like to be bougie. So, but I think this night we were like, let's just slow train over there. And so we hit a couple trains. I think we hit a bar, pizza spot. I think, or did we go to Katz?
No, we didn't go to Katz
Okay,
that day.
so we must have just grabbed something on the way.
Because you were gonna go get Katz while I was getting tattooed, and then your feet were like, you're like, I'm not walking anywhere.
Yeah, because you had Holly doing your feet, and I had Baz doing mine, and I remember we were just sitting there, and after the first one, I was like, the worst decision of my life.
And I got to do another.
And I have shoes with shoelaces. I cut them off. I think we pulled
The shoelaces out. Yeah.
Yeah. But what was cool though is because we gave homage to all the sailors that have gotten pigs and
roosters
and roosters on their feet. You did traditional, right?
I did, but I gave them like a punk rock kind of thing. I don't know. Literally, as Holly was tattooing me, I was like, what if you just did like a punk rock thing? And she's like, oh, you want to give them like some tattoos of their own and like piercings? I'm like, do your thing.
Do your thing.
And she just went to town.
And yours are cool. How are they holding up, by the way?
They look great, I think.
Every time I take my feet off, I look at them and I
take
go,
your feet off.
my socks off. Every time I take my feet off and put them up on the couch. No,
Jules mixed up a strong cocktail
for us. Those are good.
Yeah.
And we also did a TikTok fireball thing right beforehand.
Rightfully so.
I feel good. I feel like we're right back in touring mode. Like I haven't toured or been on a plane or a bus in 2 years. Right back in it. I'm here. Let's go load in.
It's like riding a bike, man.
Let me go take care of those subs. I'm all liquored up now. I hope someone from like my old company is listening to this. Be like, I always knew he was drinking on the job. What a jerk. But I ended up getting Porky the Pig.
Yeah.
And
you did the cartoon version.
I did the cartoon
Foghorn.
version. Foghorn Leghorn. Yeah. And Porky has a punched eye. They're both wearing boxing gloves. Like they just fought. So that's one of my all-time best tattoo memories. And I am covered head to toe. And you just recently did something which is, in my eyes, you went big.
It hurt so bad. If I'd have known it was going to be that bad, I really...
Now you're in.
Yeah, I'm in. There's no turning back.
You can't turn back.
But if I'd have known, I may not have done it. And I feel like I remember you telling me the back is really bad, parts of it.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm pretty covered, you know. I've got... And there's spots that suck, but this was a whole new ball game.
Lower back.
Oh my God. Dude, anything, and he told me before we started, a good friend of mine did it. He's done quite a few of my tattoos. he was like, listen, when we get to the lower back, like belt line and below, he goes, you got to think about your spine. When it gets to that point, it's carrying all these nerves from your brain.
Oh, yeah.
And it gets to that point, it kind of just flails out.
Yeah.
He's like, there's all kinds of like major nerves in there, bro. This is for real. I was like, yeah, it's not, whatever.
I have tattoos. I'm cool, bro.
Yeah,
I got
right,
it.
right,
I got it. I'm
right.
cool.
Dude, it was no joke.
No joke. You actually have tattoos in places I don't, and normally I'm the one that has the most tattoos. You have a couple you are a little lower in the belt line than I mean,
we did
by a lot.
I don't know what you call them. In my head, it's called a butt panel. 2 butt panels.
You do
I
have
guess.
2 butt panels.
But we were talking about it, and so my back is all like a Japanese layout.
And it's gorgeous, by the way. What a cool design.
He did amazing. But we were looking at it, and I was like, he sent me like what it was going to be, and I was like, I kind of want to go. I want to do it. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do the whole thing, butt panels, whatever you want to call it. And he was like, all right, yeah, we're going to real deal this. All right. Because to me, that type of tattoo doesn't look right if it just stopped right there at your lower back. That traditional Japanese that's how they do that. And so I had to do it. And he warned me. And dude, when we got into it, like at one point I had my headphones on and I was like zoned out. I was good. He was hitting some spots that sucked, but whatever.
Yeah.
It was like a normal tattoo. And then he hit that part, and I was like, I can't listen to anything. I can't look on my phone through Instagram. I can't do anything.
Yeah.
I have to. At points I couldn't breathe. I was just like.
I've now gone sold where I have to bite a finger, like just to take pain to a different place in my body.
And because it was the outline, he was like, "Got to do it all at once, bro."
Yeah.
Like when you get to the point where you're like taking your lunch to get a tattoo, like you're going to be there all day and you're going to take your lunch.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. He's like, this is all one setting, man. So I think
8.
It was like 7.5, I think. And I'll be honest, he warned me. He's like, it's probably going to be 8, whatever. But he ripped through it pretty good.
I've never figured out if I hate lining more or shading more. I still to this day, I'm like,
I know.
I'm like, oh, I'm going to go get lined. I like lining. And then I get done, I'm like, I hate lining. And then I'm like, okay, I'll like the shading. And then I go get shaded. I'm like, I hate shading. I'm like, why do I have so many dang tattoos?
You find out you really hate the whole process.
I'm stupid. Like, look at me. Look how much pain I've put my body in. It's incredible. I have to say, though, that your back piece, wow, when you sent me that, I was like, wow, really, really
He's
good stuff, man. Did you... I've always given my tattoo artist, for the most part, because I've created a relationship with him. And he usually starts with something small, maybe, or maybe the guy that did my sleeves, I just knew right away because he had done someone else's. I just give him ideas.
Free reign, almost. Yeah. I told him I'm looking for traditional Japanese. Here's what I want, straight on. Other than that, you're the artist, not me.
Yeah. What really boils down to is, like, I could sit there all day and pick it apart, but you know how my skin's going to lay out, and you're going to be like, well, I could put this here, but in, like, 30 years, it's just going to be a dolphin.
Right.
It's just going to look like a whale now.
It's going to be a blubber of just ink.
Your tramp stamp of a dolphin is now going to be a whale. I was like, oh, yeah, I don't want that. So I get it. I saw it and I was like, I wonder if he just gave him a couple, like, I want this, and then boom.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Very little.
When are you giving it a little break? I mean, because I texted you that next day and you were like, woo.
It's funny how quickly you forget what kind of pain you go through. I think that's the allure of tattoos. Is like you, for some reason, after they heal, you somehow quickly forget what pain you went through, and you're like, I could do it again.
Wasn't that bad.
Yeah. So as soon as I finished it, he was like, we should really nail you in before summer, because I'm one of those, especially if you're getting big pieces. Like, I rarely get tattooed in the summer, which a lot of people are they get tattooed in the summer because they see tattoos all over, people at the pool, whatever. And so they think about getting them, but I just never get tattooed in the summer. So We scheduled again before we started for like April. So I'm going
Wow.
right back. I'm fully healed right now. It didn't really take long to heal, but kudos to the old lady, man. She was.
Did you lay on your stomach for 4 days?
No, I mean I could, dude. Going to the bathroom was very interesting.
Yeah, you're really staying between the lines there.
Very careful, very careful. But kudos to the old lady, man. She was so good to me.
Oh, man.
She was kept my back clean and kept me like,
Isn't that awesome?
yeah.
To have-
Because I can't. I'm like,
Yeah.
you got me
When
on
was
the
last time
lotion.
when was the last time you lotioned the middle of your back?
Right. Oh, how about that? She was lotioning my butt, bro. I'm like,
I love it.
She a keeper, man.
Oh man, dude. There's certain things in life where you just are like, yep, check, done. Goodbye. Everything else, I've found my love, and it's something simple as that, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I just have such love for you and all the things that we've gone through because. To see you starting to get all these tattoos, I don't know. It kind of takes me back to like when I got my back tattoo, and I'm so covered now to where I'm like, man, I wish I kind of went slower because I would have like I've now started to cover up some stuff just because like I was so young and got some dumb stuff tattooed on me. But even then, I'm like, now I got a new memory of it. But man,
Right.
we have some cool tattoo stories. I totally forgot about Tattoo Tuesdays.
Yeah, we would go and we would eat a burger somewhere.
Yeah,
Somewhere that
Burger
had a
and
good
fries.
burger, and then we would go and get a quick banger.
go hop on a bus later. Oh, actually, the next day we go hop on a bus.
Yep.
I mean, I lived out at Opryland, and you'd come pick me up, and we'd go. Go. What was it? The pharmacy. I have a photo of us actually. I was wearing a cat shirt, your favorite animal, and I have like one of those like selfie photos of us in at the pharmacy that pops up on my website every once in a while. I'm like, oh man, I remember that.
Yeah.
That I don't know if that was the bus day, or the whale. The whale
can't
with the
remember.
bus code. Because we were on the white whale. That's what it all started,
You're
right?
right,
It was bus 4. We've
Yep.
been bus 4 forever. What bus are you on now?
I'm on bus 5,
Oh,
I guess. But theirs is different. Like their production bus is 4. So it's
Ah.
like the main artist, the band, the
Okay.
production.
how are you? I mean, I'm gonna just ask this. How are you liking the Stapleton stuff?
They're great.
Yeah.
Man,
Amazing.
it's such a change of gears, but the importance of the sound and where they're set up, those guys they rely heavily on each other. So
No in-ears, right?
no in-ears.
Yeah.
There's wedges on stage, and then they use each other's amps and stuff, and it's all relative to where the drummer sits is where everybody else sets
Oh
up.
wow.
And it doesn't matter if we're doing, a small theater or if we're doing a stadium. They will be in the same
Same
proximity of each other no matter what.
That's pretty cool.
It's crazy. And so that's how they listen to each other. That's how they play off each other. There's 0 tracks. There's no in-ears. There's no click. There's no nothing. It's old school wedges, amps, 4 counts, and we're in.
Wow.
And that's how they
That's
do
pretty
it.
hot.
It's great.
And so people know, like, when we say tracks and stuff, it's not that they're playing. It's not that they're not playing. It's the fact that some bands rely on ambient things to be in the
Right.
background, or some people rely on things to count for them, or help everyone stay on beat.
Right.
And-
It locks everything together.
Yeah.
It could be
Lighting,
video.
It's a whole world because nowadays everything is such a production
Mhm.
to where, if you have a moving set piece, it's locked into time code. It's all, and it is interesting to tour with people that don't use that because it's a very organic. I toured with Green Day,
Mhm.
and at the time they didn't use anything in the same way, and they played with the audience.
Mhm.
So if the audience went faster or seemed like they were more into it, they would speed up just a touch. Just, not enough to where you noticed audibly, but it kept the audience just at a high.
they played to the room, man.
Such a cool thing.
Read the room,
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not a Stapleton fan. I think he's amazing.
Oh.
I think what he does is so cool. And I tell my wife this all the time because she's, you know her. She's in the industry, and she's always like, "Oh, I love this song." I'm like, "Hate it." She's like, "What are you talking about? Hate it?" I'm like, "Hate it. Dumb." Now I'm gonna go listen to my junk Justin Bieber over here. Not junk Justin Bieber, but you know what I mean. Like I'm gonna go listen to my junk over here, and you whatever.
It's not always for everybody.
But I will say though, he's like one of those artists though that just brings you and he takes you to a different place, and I could see it. I just am not a Stapleton big. I've never put his album on in the house. I've never also put a Beatles album on in the house.
Wow.
But I give them respect. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? So I think that it's awesome that you are with someone like that.
It's been great. It's been eye opening. I've learned a lot. I'm still learning. Every one of those players are some of the best, especially in country music. They're the type of guys that, when they're speaking about music, I'm listening.
I love it.
I'm gonna sponge every bit of it. I'm gonna take it with me wherever I go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's I think that's another way of like
growing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just taking your career to a new spot. Well, I have to say, thank you for your time, man. Thank you. Are you before we run this podcast and say goodbye and all the things? Have you? Are you gonna get a tattoo on the road? Do you still get tattooed on the road?
I'm up for it. I haven't lately. Maybe because there's nobody really that's going with me.
Okay. Do we need to start?
I need somebody like
Tattoos Tuesday again?
Maybe.
All right. I'm in town a lot more.
Hey man, I'm never gonna turn down a tattoo.
Maybe we could do. Maybe we could get Mike in on a tattoo. I could do a podcast from the shop, and we can get like a live tattoo one day or something.
Or a logo, man.
Dang, the B&B logo. Dang, dog.
Best buds.
What?
It's double meaning, man.
Man, I'm loving this little tattoo. And it's a tattooed. I mean, I don't have to tell you, but
It looks great.
man, when we were designing it, I just remember I saw that font, or maybe I said the font, and it was like, yeah, that's it.
It makes total
Why
sense.
do I think? Why?
I like the sleeve hit right there, dude.
This is a one-off hoodie I built just to try it out. I wish it was lower.
Maybe mine will be.
We could always work some stuff out. The thing about so print on demand is cool, but you're kind of limited just because you're printing through a giant company, and it makes certain parts of my life easy. Like, so people, if they're like, "Oh, I do want to rep a hat," it's like, "Okay, cool, just go to the Etsy." But to do like specialty things, it's hard because they have to stay in a certain frame because there's thousands of people getting stuff printed on demand, and so it's like there's good and there's bad about it. But I'm not trying to be a clothing line.
Right.
I'm just trying to give someone like, yeah, if you want to rep a hat, here you go.
Here's where you go.
And it's a decent hat. It's not, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I think eventually I'll probably move to where I can really design something, but I think we're still some time off.
It's cool though. Already though.
I really appreciate it, man. I knew certain people would see it and be like, yes, that is exactly it. And then I knew that there'd be other people who'd be like, why? But I think that's with anything. Like, this is truly the first time in my life where I say it a lot, but it's the first time where I've ever had control over everything. Well, actually, it's like me and BK. It's just us. So it's like, what do you want to do? I don't know. What are you thinking? So it's really cool. It's different from being on the road where I was always like,
you had to cater to a lot.
Cater to a lot. But you always made my life easy, man. I had to say, out of years of touring and working one-offs and just doing all the things, you've always been one of my like super favorite people to hang out with. That's why we hang out outside of the road too. So
I appreciate that,
having
man.
you on here just means the world to me. And thank you. If you haven't started following the YouTube, go follow or subscribe. I think they call it on YouTube, and just come check out this awesome river view. Now, don't pay attention to the construction over there. They're still building some stuff, but
right.
But I mean, this is a great little setup.
I mean, technically, if I can plug right here, it could be yours. We selling soon.
Oh, I will put a link in. No, that's awesome. Well, why don't you move out where we are? We'd love to have you as a neighbor.
We might. And then we'll have another place to do a podcast.
Oh, my gosh.
Another venue, man.
Oh, you're coming back. Don't worry. This is just the beginning. But, all right, let's start to wrap. Dude, Derek, Rick, D2, all the names. All I got is love for you, man. I thank you so much for this time. I hope you have fun. Are you guys touring the United States?
Soon. Studio right now, and then we're hitting the road.
Look at you ending up in the studio. You don't want to end up in there. I love it, though. I love it. But you know what, though? It's cool that you get to work with the same guy, though. I think that's just the coolest part of it all. It doesn't matter where you're at. You just have a cool dude to do some stuff with and go see the country.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, much love, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Don't have anything left to bottoms up, but I can eat a...
I got a tiny bit.
Well, let's...
we had Manhattan's
We had
here.
a lot of fun in here.
Yeah.
Oh, and Jules knocked it out of the park.
Oh, we're gonna do a shot though. As soon as we're gonna do the PAPPY. We're doing it. It's a celebration.
We're gonna sip on it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you a quick story. Me and my before we bottoms up, me and my best friend, we went to a steak dinner for New Year's one time, and you know me being bougie. The the bartender, I think they had 18 or 20-year-old PAPPY. And the guy was like, it's $50 a pour. I was like, oh, sweet. Well,
we'll have two.
I was like, we'll have two right now. And they come across the bar, and he goes, you won't shoot it. And I shot it down. And he was like, you shot a $50 shot down. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And
I'll have another.
Will you line two more up? And the bartender was like, no.
And I'm sure after all of that, you ordered a black car to get home.
I'm pretty sure we ended up doing like 4 shots of PAPPY each at the bar before dinner. The guy hated us. The guy was like, F you, you're not supposed to do that with this stuff. I was like, whatever. But
we're going to have a pour of it then.
But we'll sip on it. But cheers, bottoms up. Thank you all. Midweek treat. Love you all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Rec, cheers.
Cheers.
It is